from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
I am a working man, I get things done. Work for the Holy Ghost, work for the Son. I am a working man, oh yes I am. I am a special agent of the Lamb. Now,
and you're listening to Live from the Path, coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. And my legs are out in here. So if you're thinking in your house or driving along in your car, I know a few weeks ago that I insinuated that I might vomit, and that felt wrong. And I think I cut that out of subsequent broadcast postings. But I do think it's appropriate you to know that my beacons of Gondor are lit, and they are in the room.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. As the night has progressed, especially when he sat in that chair, it's like watching dominoes fall, and you're like, these shorts are slowly creeping up away from the knee, and it's giving me pause.
I can't.
Like I'm going to have to reposition my chair to face north.
Here's what the arc of glory beckons.
You know, fellas, it's nice to know. It's nice to know that things can sometimes just stay the same. Like things change so much in our world. It's nice to know that Live from the Path just kind of stays where it's at, and it doesn't ever try and elevate from what it is. Nope. As we're 20 years into this, pretty much, and Ben's still opening up by talking about his legs.
That's what I'm saying. It's like King Vitaman and Mrs. Butterworth and Uncle Ben. These stand the test of time.
This is wild. My name's Buva. I'm here to tell you, you are not, in fact, experiencing a fever dream. The last 90 seconds have actually happened. Okay. Just telling you.
Here's what I got going on the show this evening. The first question or thought is around, and we've talked about this. Like we're praying for, like, God, we help us to see you move so that we can join in. But I think the question becomes, is like, if you think about the world that you experience on a day-to-day, your day-to-day experiences, there is a boundary to what you notice, right? And so we were talking just before the show, and an example I gave was hearing birds. I'm surrounded by birds. There's birds everywhere at my house. And if I pay attention to them, they're crazy loud. Right. But most days I don't like walk around feeling like I'm inundated with birds because I'm not listening. I'm not paying attention for them. But the narrowness of my life has, even though there's all kinds of other things going on around me, the birds are not jumping out. And so if I think about my prayers like that, like, God, I'm open to you working in all kinds of things, but it's actually likely still bound in some ways by my own experiences or expectations of my life. Yeah. And that feels like I was going to say risk, but Casson doesn't like that. If it feels like that might turn you off. And so, like a terrorizing, difficult problem.
Really minimize it, man.
This could be true. Well, it just makes me wonder that, like, even in our best intentions, do we need to be intentional about expanding what we take in, so that we're actually open to be able to perceive ways in which God is moving that we may join that are different than the steps that I otherwise always take. And so I want to talk about that. One, does that make sense? Two, have you ever experienced something like that? And to the extent that it's there, what might I do about it? Like, how do I keep from being in, I don't know, I don't want to be in a bubble, but like, I can only live my own life with my own beautiful legs. And so, like, and wherever they carry me in delight and glory. So anyway, just something to think about. We'll circle back to that question.
I hope we don't circle back to your legs.
Secondly, Buva's got an interesting story of where it felt like God told him to be about a thing. He was about a thing, and that thing just seemed like it was sucking. And so Buva's like, forget it, I'm out of here. And then all of a sudden, the very thing that he was supposed to be about seems to come to very clear fruition.
Oh, boy.
At the point of bail.
Oh,
and
boy.
So we want to talk about that. It's a good story, and maybe reminds us of places where we're like, Lord, the Google Maps can't be trusted. It might drive you off the edge. But the Yahweh is kind of batting 10 for 10. And so hanging tight in places where he's drawn you, even if you're not seeing what you expect. Also, interestingly, there was a conversation. Casson's in studio. Say hi to Casson in your car.
Hi, Casson.
His legs are not out. I don't think. I didn't look. Don't
I
show
looked.
him.
They're not.
Don't
You looked over the desk right now to see if you might catch a glimpse of
I
it.
was trying to. Oh shoot! Oh,
He's capried.
never mind. He's wearing capris.
He's capried up.
He wears short shorts.
There's no capris. I don't think he wears short shorts.
Okay. So anyway, him and I were talking about this notion of kind of religious experiences seems a little bit broad, but like the question is like, have you ever had these situations where you went to like, I don't know, Promise Keepers, or you went to a camp, or you visited a church somewhere, and there was just something that just felt like everything was hitting, right? And then you left that environment, and then it felt like you could not reclaim whatever that moment was. And to a certain extent, we're like, God, thank you for the things that feel like I got a full glimpse. But then at the same time, the question is that like, if the thing that otherwise we are satisfied in and persevere in and we find delight in is this relationship with Yahweh, and it only feels like we can hit it at its peak if the environment's right, that actually seems kind of risky, a terrible, awful possibility of which danger and difficulty certainly await.
It's such a faker.
It's something to think. Well, so the question is like, how do we think about that?
Yeah.
And in what way do you either rethink or restructure, reframe the notion of what are we creating? But then, or also, how do I transition from, or how do you take it with you? Like, is some of the gap not because of the thing that it was, but like, why are we having a barrier of feeling like the only place that it can exist is in those moments and in those events?
I'd be real interested if like someone was going to ask you a pointed question is, where do you think that we are doing this most obviously? And it's probably going to be the place where the church has gotten so used to it that like from an outsider's perspective, they would instantly see what's going on. But because you're immersed in church culture, or like that that you attend stuff like this, like it doesn't seem like anything out of the norm to you. But if you were able to step back 50 feet and go, I think actually if I was going to find some things that we're doing that's contributing to this, I would say this is one of them.
Yeah, I actually have a thought on that. It came up in John this week, and so I have a thought of like how you might evaluate that kind of thing. Yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll swing around to that. Also, we'll have advice on Dear Life from the Path, but we're going to kick off with the best story of the night. And oh shoot!
Are you about to bring the best story of the night after we all had stories? And you're like, I'm the host, so I'm going to let you know that this is the best story of the night.
We're going to do the story, and then I want you to tell me. We've been like staying away from news stories, but this one's too good.
Sure, okay, got it.
And so then I want you to tell me. He's like, you know what, Ben, you're probably right.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, Mexican Batman vigilante wanted for chasing down suspected motorbike thieves, taping them to lampposts.
Okay, Ben, you have the best story of the night.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm being real honest with you. I wasn't expecting this curated emotional response that you've made me run into. It was risky. It was a risky thing you did, and it paid off.
It felt perilous.
Gosh.
Okay, but you won't be able to recreate this anywhere else. I don't even know. My only question that has any redeeming faith value is that, like, is it wrong to be a Batman in the world, to follow Jesus and be Batman? But I'm going to read you this story.
What does Yahweh say about vigilantism?
You tell me. Tell me what you think of it. A Mexican vigilante dubbed Batman is wanted by police for allegedly chasing down suspected motorbike thieves around town and taping them to lampposts, according to a report. At least 5 men were discovered helplessly duct taped to street poles over 10 days, beginning on June 13th in the area of Lagos de Moreno, Jalisco.
So it's a whole streak.
Yeah.
Like he's done this for days on end.
That's right.
I love this.
Yeah. Okay. He said many of the alleged thieves also had mustaches, cat whiskers, and the Spanish word for thief scrawled on their faces.
Wait, so he's okay, keep going. Sorry. I want to give so much commentary. Keep going.
The vigilante, whom Cardenas referred to as the Batman of Lagos de Moreno, left the allegedly stolen bikes near the men to show off their crimes, the outlet reported. One photo captured 2 men duct taped back to back on the pole with a pink sign above their heads and a bike left in front of them.
This is fantastic.
You're missing these pictures, but
I'm so excited about this.
There's so much tape.
I was going to say, taping 2 dudes to a lamppost has got to be a couple rolls.
Right, he had to be like a bag full of stuff. You feel like he's got a.
How did you subdue
probably
the
hits him
second
with the
guy
duffel
while you
bag.
got the first guy started?
Right. You have to knock them so unconscious. Okay, keep going. All right, sorry.
Okay, police are treating the tied-up men as victims and are attempting to catch the vigilante. State Security Secretary Juan Pablo Hernandez said, according to the outlet, the men were cut free from the posts and treated for their injuries. This article doesn't say it, but it seems like he might have taken a few waylays on them to get him.
I was going to say, yeah.
To get him compliant to this post situation.
Yeah, most people don't just get off the motorbike and go, all right, it's up. Go ahead and tie me up to this lamppost.
You got me fair and square. I'm ready.
I'm in. Tape me to the lamppost, please.
Deserved. There have been no arrests. Oh, sorry. The men were cut free from the post and treated for their injuries. It's unclear if they are being investigated for the alleged thefts. There have been no arrests yet, but cops have identified 2 vehicles that may be connected to the incidents.
Are they Lamborghinis?
It did not say.
Okay, all right.
How much tape can you fit in a Lamborghini? It's a Ford Bronco.
Wait a minute. There's 2 vehicles involved? There's Batman. There's 2 Batmans.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
They didn't describe this, but if it has fins, you're
right.
I feel like we got him.
Is there a rocket thruster on the back? I think we know who it is.
Sir.
This is awesome.
Okay.
Dang it.
I'm just saying, the redeeming faith question, is it okay to be a man of justice outside the bounds of the state and in the service of Yahweh?
Yeah. Here, there's biblical example for this that has to do with when any time that you see someone calling Israel back who have decided to follow the laws of the land instead of the laws of Yahweh, there's justice being done. Like when they start, it doesn't probably go to individual petty crimes like motorbikes.
I was wondering how you were going to make that one land, Mike.
No, but overall, we'll say a philosophical Batman, like Moses will stand up or Elijah even, and we'll say, hey, come back to the laws that we should do, and then justice is waylaid on the evildoers who are perpetrating it.
Moses, the original Batman.
The original Batman.
He was the Egyptian vigilante. No, he was a murderer.
Okay, so in my mind, the only real barrier here is the whoopings.
Yeah.
If you're whooping people, I feel like you shouldn't be able to.
Batman doesn't kill. That's this whole thing.
Yeah.
But so wait, what if you came to the point on the string of death is fine? Okay.
Bat Moshe.
I don't know if it's his whole thing. Also, if you just stop saying whoopings and said subdued, then it seems way more palatable. Like I had to stop them from doing the crime.
I appreciate that you're making it seem more palatable for the situation.
Actually, I guess what's interesting is that as a society, you can name it feels bad to say street justice, but if you saw a dude stealing a purse and you tripped him and held him there, that seems like we should be doing this.
Yeah, you're saying street justice with flair is no good, but regular old easy to do street justice is acceptable.
He didn't say it was no good. He was just posing the question.
Yeah.
Is there a risk to it?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Is there a grand peril?
It is very interesting that the cops are after the vigilante, very much like the Gotham Knights situation is already. Batman's always the number one on the list of Gotham PD, except for in the case of the commissioner, Commissioner Gordon Ludden.
Let me ask, Buva, would you serve? Let's say you were succeeded in capturing and subduing or taping up 50 people. Would you be willing to serve a year's worth of time if caught having done that?
In this hypothetical situation where I have given a flair for street justice on the 50 dudes, I'd spend a year.
Worth it.
I'd spend a year because then I could get to know the criminal mind even better because I'd be in it with the other guys learning.
Do you feel like your wife?
And
would
when
be
I get out 250 guys next time,
you would say
no. My wife would be furious. She'd be like, "We have a baby, and you're out there doing some kind of vigilante street justice."
People with babies can't do street justice.
I wouldn't. I'm not gonna go away for a year. How's my wife going to survive for a year? She is a stay-at-home mom.
Her bike isn't going to get stolen.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, don't mess with that gal. That's Batman's wife.
She lives in a safe neighborhood thanks to you.
If we can learn from anything from Batman couldn't have anyone close to him because they would always die.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, there's a risk for vigilantism.
I'm just saying, if we're going as far as to make comparisons to the legitimate Batman of DC Comics,
there's a cost.
Very famously, doesn't have anyone near him because they always end up getting hurt or killed.
That seems. Can't I have
or paralyzed? That's also
less
another
drama
thing.
Than that.
Sure, you can, but not in Mexico. Not in this part of Mexico, apparently, because they're going after
except for this time, they're going to be like, some Batman showed up with Tina Turner legs, and the criminals just wanted to run away anyway.
You can't carry a utility belt with gym shorts. That's not how that goes.
You've been captured by bright whites.
That drawstring can hold 3 batarangs tops.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so final verdict. Casson, is it all right to deliver street justice as a follower of Jesus?
Think carefully.
Yes or no, Casson?
I think I'm on the side of yes. I think there's a risk to it. I hate to keep going with your word that you so love, but
Yeah.
there's a risk to it. You can't take it too far. I mean, Bubba didn't want to spend a year away from his wife and child.
Well, what's the line that's too far? 2 motorbike guys?
No,
That's acceptable?
I don't think that's. I think to Ben's point, we should be tripping the guy that stole the purse.
You think it's how many times knuckle hit teeth? Is that what
Wait
you're
a minute.
saying?
You're
many
saying
times
it's the
knuckle
intentional
hit teeth?
repeated street justice. If we just handled street justice individually and everyone took one, street justice could be done.
Yeah,
and
if
it'd
we
be
could
fine.
divvy it around, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have to be
Not a
vigilantes in the first
concentrated
place.
Batman character. We're
Yeah.
all Batman.
If Gotham had more morals, there would be no need for a Batman.
True.
I would do a year at a time, I think.
You're an old man. No one cares if you go away.
That's what I'm saying.
You're the same age.
Are you tell me that, like, for the rest of your life, your kids are going to be like, my dad does street justice, like, worth it. Totally worth it.
I do a year in the can. My daughter gets to live her life going, my dad's pretty much Batman.
He did street justice, and it got him in the clink.
I mean,
Yeah.
dang it, I am
He
an orphan.
taped up dudes.
All right, I could be Batman.
Okay.
Where are my
I tell you what,
parents?
that's a good way to get your Amazon purchases flagged by the FBI. That guy bought 75 rolls of tape.
Yes, he was on Temu searching for street justice accessories.
How hard is it to 3D print a Batarang?
He chat GPT'd how to street justice
How to street
in the Midwest.
In the Midwest.
Okay, slightly off topic. Mike, what's the name of the 70s hipster that's in the Dead Justice episode of Scooby-Doo?
Oh, wait a minute.
The Falcon? No,
Yeah. No,
not the Blue Falcon.
no, you're talking about the hairy-chested guy?
The Night Ranger.
Yeah, the Night Ranger.
The Night Ranger?
That could be me.
Yeah.
That's me.
I want if someone else has already taken Mexican Batman.
He's the guy that's always shucking clams everywhere he goes. That's
Yeah.
how they know the Night Ranger's been there.
Yeah.
What? What
Have
are you guys
seen-
talking
have
about?
you seen any of the
They're
new
very
Scooby-Doo?
old.
No.
The new Scooby-Doo?
Yeah,
No.
this is
You said 70s.
no. Well, he is a 70s dude, but this was a Scooby-Doo made within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really good. I don't know if the series is like sticks to Scooby-Doo canon or whatever, but like here's the thing: is there's this guy named the Night Ranger, and every time he comes into the scene, it like plays this sweet 80s or 70s tune, and then he backs out backwards.
Yeah.
And he's like always doing Night Ranger activities.
He
He's
looks like
awesome.
Barry Gibb.
Oh, he's cool.
Yeah.
I've actually been fasting from Scooby-Doo since 2013, so
Time to get back on.
Yeah.
The movies-
Maybe is.
The movies really led you astray. The live actions are no good, but the
hey
cartoons
man,
solid.
the live actions were awesome. That's like the only Scooby-Doo I've ever actually interacted with. Legitimately. I've never watched the TV series. I loved the movies.
You never. I'm disgusted.
You could be disgusted all you want. I thought they
Freddie
were awesome.
Prinze Jr. was a low-rent John Ritter.
Oh,
I said what
I
I,
don't
said.
even know who John Ritter is.
Three's
Who's John Ritter?
He's in Three's Company.
What's Three's Company?
He also was in what's
stay
that?
tuned.
Yeah, Stay Tuned.
Another 80s vehicle.
I was going to say, do you guys want to keep going? Because I can keep saying, what's that? If you want to. We could do this the rest
Hold
of the
on.
show.
I'll take the first 2 lines. Kessin's going to take theirs. Come on, knock on our door. Go ahead, Kessin.
You said 2 lines.
We've been waiting for you.
Is this-
Everything is at her.
Can't
Is
help
this
you.
Night- not
You
Night
point at
Ranger?
the youngest here.
What?
Anyway, we think it's okay to do Street Justice as
Okay.
a Jesus
I don't.
man.
All right, 515. No, wait a minute. You think it's wrong, or you just don't personally going to do it?
I think it's wrong.
Why?
I think you made an interesting distinction. I'd probably try and stop the guy running away with the purse. Yes.
Yeah.
Like if he's running at me, I'm going to get in the way. No doubt about it.
But once he leaves the block, you're like,
there's-
not my problem.
That's what I'm trying to find my distinction on is because, like, one, I'm not the guy who would chase him down anyway. That'd be pretty pathetic if we're being real honest about it. Street justice! And I'm just like, and I'm trying to get the purse back, and then now the ambulance has to be called for me. But, like, I don't know about going and beating up people and stopping crime.
You would only participate in street justice if it was convenient for you?
That's what I'm trying. I don't think it's a convenience
I
thing.
think
I
he's
just
saying
don't think it's
coincidental
violent.
versus sought out.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm going to go violence somebody.
So as long as someone got away with it, it's cool. But if you catch them in the act, then it's fine?
no, again, you're missing my distinction that I'm not correctly like actually doing here. But like, I think it's the violence. I'm not going to go hit somebody. Like I'm not going to go assault someone to stop them from stealing motorbikes. Because that's what's happening.
What if they were doing bigger crimes?
I would stop. If someone was hurting someone else, I would get in the way, and I would
What if they
stop
hurt him yesterday?
No, I don't think I'd get involved. I would make certain that I would help the person going forward, but I'm not going to go after somebody.
Help me move a Batman.
No, but
I'm not going to get involved.
To get realistic in a second, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like I've been the guy that went and hurt somebody from the day before.
Yeah, and you say it don't feel right.
It's not right.
It don't feel right.
Like I've been the guy that somebody called and they were like, I got hurt yesterday. Will you come up with me today? And I'm like, yes, I've done that when I was younger, and it was not the right move.
It didn't feel like justice.
No, it felt like all I was doing was beating up somebody.
Yeah.
And like that's all it was. But like I've stopped people from getting hurt before. I've gotten in the middle of assaults and I've been assaulted to stop someone from getting assaulted. But like I've never been he hit you yesterday. Oh, let's go find him today.
Yeah. What about this taping business? Like if you could tape them up.
I think the taping is funny. Admittedly, I think that's hysterical.
Does that feel like an assault to you?
In the eyes of the law, it would to me, no. Okay. But like if I have to knock them unconscious by beating them up and then being able to stop, like string them up with tape, I went too far.
Okay.
I like to think
maybe your distinction
like,
of how many times knuckles hit teeth is a fair thing.
He just comedically bumped him off the back. I like to think of it way more toned down.
Right, and I appreciate where you're coming from. I see the distinction that you're making. I thought of it differently in my experience. Again, I would stop something from happening as it's happening, but I'm not going to go seek out crime in the sake of like I'm going to beat somebody up to stop the motorbike gangs.
Yeah, I think it is fair to say that most people who want to go after doing street justice are not the people who are going to make the right distinction about when you went from justice to violence.
Right. El Batman seems cool. Don't get me wrong. Like that's a pretty sweet deal. I think it's funny that he's being a non-Jesus part of me is like that's hysterical that he's beating people up that are stealing motorbikes and then like leaving them next to the motorbikes strung up with tape onto a lamppost. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
But like I don't love the fact that he's beating up people because like here's the deal. It stinks that people are getting their motorbikes stolen. Yeah. It also stinks that these guys are getting crap kicked out of them by a random dude. Like that's not like justice. They shouldn't have stolen it, but that guy probably shouldn't have beat him up either. As evidenced by the fact that the cops are like, hey, we are treating these dudes that got strung up as victims because they are.
That's because
they got beat up.
Okay, but part of it's because the cops are feeling emasculated because Mexican Batman's clearing the streets out.
Mexican Batman's doing what they couldn't.
Yeah, they're being shamed. Is the problem.
Fair.
I am still for it. I do think you have to watch. I would agree. You got to watch the level of your recompense. But like sometimes loving your neighbor is protecting your neighbor. And
sure,
I think that's fine. All right, you're listening live from the path. Hey, first of all, if you've heard of Three's Company, hit us up on the complaint line. If you've seen these Scooby-Doo episodes or you're going to go check them out, I'd like to hear about that. And I'd like to hear are you yay or nay on street justice? And finally, if you are in on street justice, do you have a sweet name? The Bright Whites is already taken. But if you have a sweet name, because also Mexican Batman is taken. And I don't want to hear no flair on it either. Like, well, I'll be like Italian lineage Batman. I don't know. You got to come up with something better. 515-517-0085. Call or text. I want to hear from you. If this does not excite any conversation, I'll be real disappointed in all of you. I mean, every single one of you. And I'm going to send the Mexican Batman your way.
There was a period of time in my life when I was trying to be called the Earthquake.
Wait, was this after the presence of the WWF Earthquake?
I didn't know that ever existed. Admittedly, I wanted to be a UFC fighter named Troy the Earthquake Ingledinger.
Oh, yeah.
That's a real thing.
You got to check your context, homie. There's a popular Earthquake wrestler already.
I never knew that. Now I know. I'm glad it never took off.
He was a looker. He was a good-looking man.
Dang it. I would have been less impressive and less good-looking.
Feels like happens every time I talk with Mike. He's talking about good-looking men.
Good-looking. Well, he doesn't have good taste. Earthquake was not a good-looking man.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who would call themselves the Earthquake that looks good.
No.
Just being real honest about it.
Case in point, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look like a bridge troll.
Okay. So if I want to follow Jesus and I want to join Yahweh where he's working, is it possible that I have blind spots just because my normal life only interacts in certain things and in certain ways? One, does that seem possible? Two, is that something to be aware of that we should be actively looking to expand?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's something that is wonderful about going to God in a situation like that and recognizing that, like, your purview, your experiences, your life in the bubble that it is, regardless of how rough it's been or whatever it is. I don't think it's you had a Stepford life or not, right? Like, I think there's something about allowing your mind and spirit, especially in prayer, to take a step away from your own circumstances and go, is there something bigger that if I'm only focusing on myself and my circumstances, my situations, my extremes and my hardships and things like that like I'm missing out on a God that's big enough to encapsulate everything and the kind of things that he does and the kind of movements he makes? I think absolutely. And like, there's something wonderful about trusting God, because it really is a trust thing to go, like, if I'm to think about things bigger than myself, I'm opening myself up to a level of like anxiety of, gosh, there's some big problems in the world, right? Like, if I'm just praying about my job, my life, my house, my household, all this different stuff, it feels manageable. It feels manageable to pray about that and go, God, I believe in you that you're big enough to handle my finances, because it's just my household.
Ooh, that's it. It's an interesting thing to think that there is a control in that I have the words and know what to ask.
Yeah.
Versus being in a situation that goes, I can't even
absolutely. I
don't even know what to say here.
When I blow up my perspective, because I have to do this every once in a while, where I just go like, am I praying mundane prayers for my life and my circumstances and my interactions when I should be praying for the God of this universe to be changing things on a planetary scale? Like, there's something about going, I have to look at world hunger or something like the epidemic of diseases that are happening in third world countries in the world, right? Yeah. And they're so big and they're so impossible to be fathomed by me. Like, I can't come up with a fix for it. There's no amount of money that I will ever make in my life that will make any amount of change. There's no amount of interactions or personal relationships or things, pay it forward moments that I'll have in my life that can have an impact on something that global or that large. And going to God and going, I'm going to pray for myself. I'm going to pray for my family. I'm going to pray for my house, my neighborhood, my city, my county, my state, my country, and then the world. That you're just expanding this thought process of going, I believe in a God that is big enough to look at all of this simultaneously and be big enough to affect change in all of this, and trust him that he's going to. And like, it helps you to maximize your thought process, which sometimes can help you kind of put perspective on your own thoughts and your own mind and your own circumstances, right? But like, it's never from the perspective of like, God is too big for your small things. It's about this thought process of going like, God's much too big for just my small things.
Yeah, and maybe it's not even like, it can be a significant reorientation of a size. It also could be that like, your small things are just so baked into the normal course of your life that like, he could be needing or getting involved in something that is another kind of like a small thing,
sure,
like
yeah,
that.
Totally.
It's just something you would not have. Yeah, you would not have noticed.
Totally.
And I wonder if that is one of the challenges. I'm really, really hesitant on some of this conversation, because like, there's always a risk that we take the wrong thing to take away is like, well, pray into the thing that's like wildly disruptive and God blesses that, and then the hairs on your head types of things. God doesn't care about that.
Right? No,
obviously not.
Right? Of course,
obviously not. But like, so the risk isn't at all that like, oh, I focused on a thing that felt it was within my sphere. That's right.
Yeah. As you should.
Yes. But the question becomes, is it possible that by the normal course of life, I actually have some blind spots in my sphere? And do I need to be intentional about recognizing that that's a possibility so that I can then, contribute to ways to make sure that I'm not blind in a place that I don't want to be?
And God could be inviting you into something that's just down the street from you. That's another small situation.
Yeah.
But like, God is inviting you into that small scenario that's in someone else's life, whether it's to offer perspective on your own or whether it's to offer an answer on your own that goes, I'm taking care of this, I'll take care of you too. But I want you to see the way that I work in all of these kind of situations. If you're a sparrow, guess what? I have other sparrows too. And I'm going to do things for them as well. I'm going to clothe them also and feed them too.
So I feel like that, like the thing that you said where like, I want to involve you and like praying within your sphere, like, I think those hold a lot of weight for me. Like it's not like the mosquito problem in Kenya I'm against praying for. I don't think
right,
God,
of course.
But like a lot of the time I feel like God is inviting you in so he can strengthen your faith as you join him in the thing that he's doing. Yeah. Right? And so like sometimes like we'll pray for world hunger and like God could very well answer just like he answered Judas. He's like, there will be poor always.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain parts of a broken world that aren't going to fix, until I redeem this whole thing. And so not, like, I hear my heart right on that. Like basically just trying to say that like, I find that more than likely God is trying to invite you into things around you that's outside of you. And being willing to pray like into like your community or your neighbor or like the people you work with, and it not being about you, not going, Lord, will you make Fred be nice to me? You know what I'm saying? Or sure. We're like, will you make it so that me and my neighbor aren't getting along? Will you find a way for peace for that? And I'm not saying that like any of that stuff is not what God wants. God does want peace, but like the actual prayer is, God, will you introduce yourself and make a way for your things to be done in their life? And would you let me see it, or would you let me be a part of it? Or if any of those situations, like you're inviting me into to hold some kind of responsibility or hold like an example of what faith looks like or talk to somebody, like, will you give me eyes to see it? That prayer goes a long ways, because then it doesn't matter whether it's a problem in Kenya. If you ask God to give you eyes to see the work that he's doing and invite you into it, he might very well be inviting you into Kenya.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally, yes.
And he might be very well inviting you down the street. I think almost every person I've got involved with where I end up talking to them about Jesus that actually bore fruit, it came from a prayer that said, Father, I don't know what's going on in that guy's life, but like if you would make a way for me to have a conversation about you, I would love to be part of that. Yeah. And then because I prayed that prayer, my eyes were intent on watching it, right? I was focused and paying attention for when God was moving, opposed to, it's hard for me to keep track of what's going on in Colombia. He might be like, there might be revival hitting the streets, and I've been praying for it, and I would have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even know it happened. But like when I pray for God to invite me into things, then like the thing where I probably still do, where I drop the ball is I'll pray for something that I'm like, well, God's got it handled. And then I'll just be surprised, right? It'll come as to me as shock. I think most people feel like they're like, when God interacts with them, it's like a holy clap of thunder, or like, don't worry, God will get my attention. And I don't think God's trying to like play this gotcha thing where like you accidentally turn to the left and I meant for you to turn right, you idiot. Now you'll be no part of our blessing. I don't think that's what he's doing, right? But like when you pray intently for God to do something, like the faith part is you watching to see how he's going to do it, and if he's going to do it, and how he's going to do it. That's where you start paying attention to the work that God is doing, and then you get involved in it because you had an eye for the work God was doing, where I think a lot of the time we just throw prayers up and go, well, that's off my plate, it's on God's plate, we're done. We're done now. And so that starts to pray outside, because even if you don't have like the full capabilities to know how to pray for that situation, like God creates that by inviting you into that situation, and now you know. And now whatever thing that you had going on that you were worried about, or you wanted to pray for your job stuff and all that stuff, is completely fine. But it starts to get in perspective where you're like, man, if we're talking about eternity forever for other people and whether my boss likes me or not, I think I know which one I don't give a crap about. Good luck, Chuck. Sure. I'm out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I think the maybe some of the ways that God would work this out in us is like flat out just being asked to be involved in the things that he's doing. And the more people you get to know and the more stuff that God invites you into, the more your prayer life gets way wider and way deeper. Because then like your lawnmower starting or not, you're like, I don't know. God seemed to provide an eternity for this guy last week. I bet he'll help me with this lawnmower situation. I'm pretty sure I can trust him with this. I'll ask him. And he gives good gifts because he's a good dad. But like the temporary comforts or measures like on this earth, God says, yeah, those aren't going to work. Like that's not going to sustain you. He already told us that. And we spend a lot of time praying for that. for like comforts of or peace in our day. And God's like, there's no peace. There's no peace except for where I'm at. So you're like, well, create more people that you live in, and then I can go be at peace with them. You know what I'm saying? Like some of it's very hard. It's a hard word to hear sometimes. We're constantly praying for peace to be, or like, don't make this so hard. And God's like, man, I kind of wrote a book, and I feel like I told you it's going to be rough because it's a broken world. That's what happened, you know?
Well, I think so much of this is centered on, at least inspired by the question of like, how do we stretch past ourselves?
Yeah.
The boundary that we have, the physical limitations we have from our experiences, how do we get past that and pray for bigger things? Not that little things and huge prayers aren't valuable, but how do we just pray for bigger things, better things than just what our limitations are?
Wider.
Yeah.
Like, give me a wider breadth.
More than just me, more than just
yeah.
my experience, but instead, how can I see the world? And I like the way you put that, Mike. But I think one thing for me, and I guess I'm just recentering on the boundary thing, is a lot of the times I feel like if I could just get equipped a little bit better, if I could just solve this thing, then I can go work for you. And that's why I stay small. That's why I pray small. And maybe you guys never pray small, but I've prayed small before.
Oh, yeah.
And I've prayed way too narrow. And I've prayed about myself. And I've prayed about something that probably didn't matter. And it definitely didn't matter when last week God saved somebody's life, somebody's eternal life. And this week I prayed about my lawnmower. And so when we think about that, I think about the boundaries I set up for myself of, God, if you can just fix this for me, if you can be with this, if you can help me have peace or help me resolve this one thing, I will be such a better soldier tomorrow. I will be able to work for you more. I will be able to do more for you. And it's well-centered to think that I need more, but it's not right. He's going to equip me, and he's going to call me to do what he needs me to do without that prerequisite. I don't need these things. I don't need that piece to go and work for him.
Actually, I think you're right about that. Like I would probably say that it has been a significant barrier to me in the past, and even maybe presently, where it's like, God, if you would just solve this one thing, I feel like I would be all in on everything else, you know. But like this one thing's it has to resolve. I can't do both. And I think God's answer is like, you're not doing both. I'm doing both. I'm inviting you into both. Right. And like some of these things, like you're going to watch and struggle to get past this stuff. And like, he's like, I'm there for that too. But you also think that the prerequisite solving is actually what makes the difference. And God's the only one that knows better whether that's true or not.
That's an interesting point too that you brought up, because what you're talking about, whatever that might be, we probably know in this room, but that one thing that's, if I could just get this off my plate, I could be so good for you. That's not narrow at all. That's not little at all. And our question started there, right?
That's true.
So what you're talking about there, I think in this, it is narrow when you look at it, and when you look at it just in your home, it's like, this is the one thing that matters. We get that. But that's not narrow or small. So I don't think it's probably wrong.
I suppose that's right, because that's still a focused outward thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe my point was obsolete, but I think just centering it on your specific example is like, that's not narrow or small, but it is within your limitations. It is within your life. Like,
yeah, it also
is there a boundary,
what we can handle based on our own human fallibilities, right? And like what we're like to get to the wide part, we're asking for movements of God. It's more than you can produce, right? It's more than you're capable of. It's more than like, I think sometimes folks are like, and like we always bring up classic Moses, Aaron stuff. Where like, I'm not equipped for this. I don't know how to do this. Blah 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 blah. And like the whole point was never to make it so you were equipped. It was always to make you realize that it didn't matter.
Yeah, who made man's mouth?
Yeah, it was always to make you realize that God's like, I'm not asking you to be me. I'm asking you to be you. And I'm inviting you, son, to come with me. Dad's going to the garage to fix a car. Come with me. Dad's going to go help a town. Come with me. Dad's going to go talk to this fella. Come with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and those are the invitations. And some of it maybe to help point that in the right direction. Like the maybe it's just how we're approaching it. Like, and how what we think prayer does, and what we think the purpose of prayer does, and what we think that like we're we get kind of stuck on our own things. We're like, we're not bringing new information to God, right? Like, I think I had a conversation with a guy this week. He's like, I had a real quick prayer, and I thought, you know, and was time sensitive, and I prayed on it real hard, and I thought God was going to answer, you know? And I'm like, he didn't answer? He's like, no, he didn't answer. I'm like, well, here's the thing. That wasn't a surprise to him. It's a surprise to you, right? You declared it an emergency. God knew it was happening since he created the world. He's not like, oh, they got me on that last bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he totally knew it was coming, and he knew you'd think it was an emergency. And why he answered or doesn't answer, I don't know that. I don't know God's, his ways aren't mine. I don't know why, like, he would answer or not answer that in a specific time frame. But I do know it wasn't a surprise to him. I do know he already knew it was coming, and you were going to go through all the patterns that you just went through. And so, like, it's just a thought that goes that like, it was never about us to start. It was never about our own power, our own abilities, our own usefulness, our own like sometimes I like to shade my own life circumstances and go, God will use this in the future. Because of this thing that I've gone through, God will help me be able to relate to other people in the future. I mean, he might. He also might not.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more about him and his power than it ever was about mine.
Yeah. So, okay. So if I think about, it feels like there's a few different things to be, some of it's just an awareness. Like, it's okay to be, if the first place is to recognize where you've got blindnesses and ask God to help you with them. And so the first one could be on the topic of what we were just talking about, which is like some perception that I would not notice Yahweh calling me to go be a light into the local cross stitch club, because I don't cross stitch. I would have automatically pulled myself out as not being qualified to help in this situation. And if he very well may be dragging me into the cross stitch, so I'm the dummy and I get to ask the dumb questions. And that's actually these people like me. And then we get to talk about Jesus at some point. And so I'm not saying, like, it's not more holy if it's wild and you're totally unqualified for a thing.
Right.
But don't pre-take things off the table. Don't create blind spots on, like, where is God moving, since you go, like, because you would go, if he's moving there, it's not for me because I'm not qualified in that area. So that would be a place that I think I would pray about, to go, help me not just to look for where you're moving in places where I want you to move.
Yeah, so we actually had this come up in the last week or two. Is like we were talking to a kid, and like he's been going to college like an hour and a half away. And like he kept telling stories of like how people wanted to talk about Jesus, and like I'm like, man, God's moving down there. And my first thought was, I'm like, I wonder who down there is going to do it. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, we can send people down there. You know what I'm saying? If that's where God is moving, we should go.
Yeah.
And then we should pray about who should go.
Yeah.
And it's not off the table whether we should go because it's an hour and a half. You're like, that's an inconvenient drive. Or, yeah, I don't live down there. God definitely has people in the area. And like, what I don't know and what I never know, because God never tells me why he would send a guy an hour and a half when there's a guy that lives 15 minutes away. But God goes, the hour and a half guy, that's the guy I wanted, because of X whatever reasons that are holy and awesome that I have no idea about. You know what I'm saying?
That gets to the conversation we were having on the show last week, which is like, how do I discern if God is speaking, if I just have a gospel-oriented heart and it's a thought I had or whatever. Largely came to the conclusion that I'm not sure it actually matters all that much. Like, if you seek ye first the kingdom of God and listen and be faithful with those things, it's probably going to shake out. And like, to the extent that in that particular situation, like my wife and I were like, why don't we just say yes, and we'll see what happens. And like, if 2 weeks go by on something that's an hour and a half away and there's someone there that's obviously handling it, then we're like, okay, then we'll go back home.
And that's the thing, is like, guessing his purposes is foolish, right? He might very well call you down there merely so the 15-minute away guy, you can notice God moving and watch this guy tearing it up, and you're like, man, God is faithful.
That's awesome.
And you got re-energized and said, how can we help? If you need funds, if you need people to fill in for you, if you need a worship guitar man, whatever, let us know how we can partner with you. And then you go back to your house. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Zero clue if any of that is happening.
Right. A yes gets you into the situation. Whether God wants you to bring donuts, a devotional, or a didgeridoo, you don't know yet. But like, the faithfulness started with a yes, and it can be a yes of which you're like, certainly God has other people, maybe. But maybe he wants you. And so, okay, so blind spot number one says, don't pull yourself out of a situation because you think you're not qualified, or you think there's probably a better way to do it. There's no reason to think that. Be open to it. It sounded to me like the second one was sometimes just patterns of life. Like, we go the places we go, we meet the people we meet. And it's not crazy. Like, God created a world and he gave Adam and Eve a garden. That was their space. They didn't send him. God doesn't send him outside four rivers and go 3 continents over to go name animals there. He brought the animals by. He tended the garden that they gave them. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. It's not, and like, again, if there's a caution here, you're not more holy because you traveled.
Right.
Like even in the previous example, if it's what God wants, great. If it's not because there's a local dude, great. Not holy, not super holy. That's the wrong way to think about it. But I think the thing that does come into those situations is that you get used to once you know the path of your life, you stop looking at road signs. You know where to go. You don't pull up the map anymore. You don't ask. You may notice changes, but you don't notice. There's just certain things that your mind wanders on. You're not thinking about anymore. And so I think there's an intentionality, something that I feel like I would pray on to say again, God, open my eyes not only to opportunities that I'm not qualified for, but like help me not be so familiar with the world around me that I miss places of which may I invest that I just don't see anymore because I'm going about the business of life that could be totally honoring of you as it goes. But I could still miss something. Okay, this is going to seem like a terrible example, but like,
you mean the didgeridoo one was great?
No, I felt good. Those were 3 Ds in a row.
I thought he had that canned, to be honest.
Those are so good. I thought of those 6 weeks ago.
Donuts, devotional, or didgeridoo. You had that canned, I swear.
So good. But it's like I get used to the way that my house functions, and I don't notice that the garbage needs taken out. The garbage totally needs taken out, but I'm thinking about the things that I'm always thinking about, and I miss it. Is my house bettered if I'm paying attention to something that I don't always see, and then I can serve in that way? Okay, micro example. But now extrapolate that into the other ways of which we live our lives, and like you meet the same types of people, you go to the softball game, or you go to the class, or just the things that you're involved in, or even your church, and like, I don't know, what am I not open to? Because I'm just not thinking about it. You're not opposed to it. You're not unqualified for it. It's just not on your mind. And so I think, when I say, God, help me not to miss the things that you're doing, do I know that I have a particular risk in just not noticing because I know how to do the life that I'm in? Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable to me. And so I think I'll pray intentionally to say, help me not miss it. What else? Were there any other ways in which we think? I think this goes to something. We chatted on this just a little bit, I guess, before the show started. But just listening to other people will naturally start to expand the world around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not just collecting facts. Oh, Ted went to Uganda with his family. What an interesting story. I will tell them that my cousin also went to Uganda at some point. Yes, these are nice facts. But listen to Ted talk about his experiences. Listen to Mary's situation where she, works overnight in the hospital and had some real difficult situation that you would not think about. You've never had a family member with cancer. You've never had a situation where one of your relatives' house was foreclosed upon. You've never had to think about the fact that there's some people who did not grow up with close figures, parents, grandparents, or whatever. When they have a car problem, they don't know how to fix it. Nobody around them knows how to fix it. They don't have the money to do anything about it. They literally can do nothing.
Right.
And it's not a conceivable experience to you. Listening, having intent, and trying to understand other people's circumstances will start to naturally open up your mind. You'll start seeing things that you would not normally see because game recognizes game. You recognize people's lives who are the same as yours and their experiences. You don't always recognize things that other people are going through because you're not familiar. And you're not to blame for that, but you can be intentional. Is it because I said game recognizes game?
I just can't take world where you say game recognizes game.
I appreciate he gestured me and not you two. Just saying.
That's true. That's my hand did actually naturally go to Casson.
Wait a minute, are you and Casson game? Is that what we're saying?
No, that was the implication.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys can take that.
Yeah.
No, the only game that Ben recognizes is Balderdash.
Legs out, game out. Anyway, the point being,
Donuts, devotionals, didgeridoo.
You nailed that. I don't know why
Lifeway's not called.
I take tasteful alliteration for 300, Alex.
you know why Casson likes that?
Didgeridoos.
Because game recognizes game. Okay. Anyway, I just listen to the world around you. Start with the birds, move on to the peoples. Take the world in.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. The one thing that popped into my mind is our God is too good and too gracious to be narrow. and to be, it's not selfish, but everyone's got eyes for their own lives, and they want to take care of one thing before they take care of the next. And our God he's going to work in our routine. He's going to work in the signs that you drive by, that you're not using the maps on any longer. But he's going to work in these new places, and these places that you haven't expanded yourself to, and these places you haven't opened your family or your friends to. And we just have to do that more. We have to pray bigger. We have to pray intentionally, and that's.
I think that intentional nails it. And I think intentionally with humility. I think both those things, if we can get a posture of humility that goes like, you don't have to be like, God, I have no idea what's going on here. But like, I have definitely prayed that. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here.
Some of the most powerful prayers I've ever done. I'm like, God, I got nothing.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I thought this was going to go away, and it went completely the other way. And I just want to do whatever you want me to do. So I'm willing to just hand over the wheel for a bit. You don't like my job? Fine, job can go. You don't care for where I pick to live? I'll move. Like, I've taken enough decisions on this route without asking. And then like I recenter and go, you know what, it's all yours. Help me to see where you want me to direct it differently. And like that level of humility kind of sucks, because sometimes he's going to come after stuff that you're like, oh, what I really meant was I wanted to leave my job. That's what I was more going for. Yeah. I wasn't after you like making it so my new job like paid a third of what my old one did. I didn't realize we were there. But to be fair, and like I've had this conversation last week too, where I'm like, people always tell the story where like God might call you into difficult circumstances. He has never called me to like he's also given me gifts throughout my life. Like every job I've had has been a better job than I've had before. It's not a foregone conclusion that merely because you humble yourself before the Lord, you're moving to Bolivia and you are bound for a hut. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the thing. Unless here's the thing, like half the time I know God has put it in you already that you're like, I was hoping you were going to say Bolivia hut. Come on. Because the Holy Spirit lives in you and goes, I'll get you excited for that Bolivia hut. Put me in, coach. You know what I'm saying? So I it's not always all that, but there's a I can't remember where it's at, but God was talking to, I think it was in Isaiah, but basically said, humble yourself before me and I will clear your land. I will clean your land. Right? And so like God's like, just humble yourself before me so I can do my work. Like I'm not going to force my work on you, but if you will humble yourself before me, I will show you my presence in a way that you've never seen. And we have such a hard time with that, because even the humility, the base humility that we point people to, which is be in your Bible and pray, we're like, I'll do that sometimes. What was the phrase earlier this week?
Didgeridoos.
Oh, it was half obedience is still disobedience. Half humility is not humility. You either have humility or you don't. There's not half humility. And God can't, it's not that he can't. He refuses to do work without humility. He just refuses to do it. He's like, this will be my space and I will get the glory. You will get the joy, but I will be receiving the glory for the things that I'm going to do. And if you're not willing to be part of something like that, then your prayers will go unanswered.
He's not getting in business with a real stinky business partner. He's like, maybe me and God go halvesies on this. This sounds dumb.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I do this all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, I'm like, God, handle this. God, be a part of this. I want you to, and then I will find days have gone by where I'm like, I didn't ask his opinion. I didn't pray about the thing. I didn't read his word to be focused on the things that he has going. I didn't spend time in prayer, even just listening, even not coming up with stuff to say. I just sit in his presence and go, God, I just need to be around you for a bit. You know what I'm saying? So like, as much as I hate that snaky business partner, that's freaking me. And the most work I've ever seen him do is when I showed up broken. And it's not because he likes to see broken, but that's the only time humanity can seem to deal with humility. Yeah. Is when they're broken, right? He's did the same thing to Israel. He's done the same thing to me.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. So, Buva, tell me about this story, and I think this is related to your church experience.
Yes.
Right? So the Lord says, Buva, I want you to bring people into your living room. And then tell me what happened from there.
Okay, so it's exactly right. God has called my wife and I to kind of open up our house and invite people into our living room. And then we've been doing it for, over about a year and a half now. It's been absolutely incredible for the vast majority of it. Like, it's been so cool to watch what God has done with people that have been close by. Like, it's just been so awesome to watch the Lord move. And like, there's been times when like we literally had people walking in. We meet for about 2.5 hours, and like we've had people coming in, they'd leave their church and they'd show up to our place after their church because they just hadn't had enough, and they were like, we want more of it here and we know we're going to get it here. And I'm like, this is freaking awesome. Like, I've had to go purchase metal chairs to allow more people into our place. Like, it's been so cool. And there's been plenty of weeks where like I feel like God has asked me to deliver a certain message, and I've studied it, and I've done what I needed to do to be able to teach on something. And my wife has planned a meal out and all this different stuff, and like nobody's shown up. And like, that's been fine for the most part. Like, we've just been like, all right, maybe the Lord wanted us to rest this week. Like, maybe this was an opportunity for my wife and I just to spend some time in fellowship with one another and just be prayerful and worship together, and let that be our Sundays. And then it turned into, being prayerful and asking people about their, like, what they're doing outside of this. And it's been super cool. There were a couple of weeks last month, or this last month, where we were moving. And so we didn't meet on Sunday mornings in our normal cadence. And so, like, we had canceled one week because Gianna was out of town, and we canceled the next week because, like, we were moving. And so it was kind of crazy. We just didn't have a space for people to meet up with us at. So we were like, all right, we'll meet up next week. And the next week rolled around, and we just didn't have enough space. Still, we were moving, and it was taking longer than we thought. So we're like, all right, we'll meet next week. And so it had been about 3 weeks, and we were finally in a place where we were going to have people to our house, and I was super excited about it. Posted a message on our messenger chat just going, hey guys, missed you so much over the last couple weeks. Like, we've been praying for you. We love to see you, and we're so excited for Sunday. Like, this is what Troy's going to be teaching about, and these are, this is what we're going to have for food, so you can prepare to, like, if you like that food, show up with an empty belly, but if you don't, like, grab Casey's breakfast pizza on the way, right? Like, giving people the opportunity. And so this Sunday rolls around, and I'm super excited, and I'm going to teach in John 8, and I really feel like God has given me a message to teach, and 10 o'clock rolls around, and like, nobody's there. And that's not crazy, because like, a lot of times people show up a little bit late. That's no problem. 10:05, still nobody. 10:10, nobody. 10:15, nobody. And I'm like, okay, well, this seems odd. Like, nobody's showing up. And so, like, I asked my wife, I was like, is there a point where I just kind of leave? Because I knew we were going on vacation the following week, and I wanted to have some kind of church experience. So I was like, if I leave, I'll just go to the other house church. That way I can get kind of filled up a little bit, and then we'll just meet up the next Sunday we're back in town. And so like 10:25 rolls around, and I said to my wife, I'm like, all right, I'm done waiting. Like, I want to have church today, so I'm just going to head out that way. I love you. I'll see you in a couple hours. And she goes, no problem. I'll be here with the baby. We'll hang out. So I go out to my car, and I start the car up, and I'm actually kind of excited, because I'm like, I really enjoy going and being taught as well as teaching. And so I'm super excited to go and be with the other community. And I'm like, all right, awesome. Start the car, and I back out. And the second I back out of my parking spot, in rolls a dude right behind me and pulls his car in and parks. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's John. And so I'm like, okay. And so I pull back into my spot, and I run in the house, and like, I look at Gianna, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost just left. John's here. And in walks John 2 minutes later, and I laugh, and I go, did you see that I was about to pull out? And he started laughing. He goes, yeah, I thought you were driving away. And I was really confused, because I was like, did he cancel church? And I didn't realize it. And so I'm like, no, it wasn't I was canceling. I just didn't think anybody was showing up, so I was going to head to the other church. But I'm so glad you're here. Come on in. And so it's fun, because it's the first time he and I had a chance to just sit down, and it was just kind of like Gianna and I and him, and just the three of us kind of hanging out and doing fellowship together. Because there's always, at the least, there's 7 or 8 people in the room, and it's like his brother and sister-in-law. And so like, there's only so much that you can talk about when everybody's wanting to talk, and we only have so much time. And so but it turned into, John was with us for about 4.5 hours. So he's sitting on our table, or excuse me, sitting in our chair for about 4.5 hours. And like, he eats breakfast. We'd gone and gotten like $25, $30 worth of like pastries from Costco. And like, we'd made some sausages and some eggs and all this different stuff. And it turns out just to be the three of us eating, because my daughter is not going to eat any of that stuff. And so like, it was just funny that we have this giant spread of like pastries and food, and it's just for the three of us. And 4.5 hours goes by, and finally we're all like, I can't believe it's basically 2:30 now. And John's like, I have to go home because like I plan on playing video games today, and I'd like to do that still. I'm like, that's totally fair, man. Go. Thank you so much for hanging out. And so it was just funny to me, because like, I wasn't like angry at anybody, and I wasn't mad, and I wasn't hurt that nobody showed up. I was just like, well, dang, I'm sad, because I put forth a certain level of effort into our Sundays, and like I pray about it, and I ask God to send who he wants to send, and like, because I was impatient and went, I want to go and get this experience for myself, which I don't think is a selfish thing. I just wanted to go to a different church. Like, I wasn't like, well, forget church entirely, I'm going to Chuck E. Cheese. Like, I'm literally like, I'm leaving here and going to a different church. But it was just funny that in that last moment, that if I would have gone any sooner, I would have missed him. And I'm really glad that I stayed as long as I did and waited as long as I did. It would have been better if I just stayed and waited until he knocked at the door and never would have tried to leave in the first place. But it was a really cool thing because I pray every single Sunday that God sends exactly who he wants to send. That, like, we don't go around advertising. We don't put up, like, there's no bulletin at our clubhouse that we put up that says, hey, come to this address for church. And, like, we don't go and do stuff like that. Like, we just know certain people are going to show up, and, like, they do when they can. And it's really awesome to watch God move sometimes when people, like, we've had people walk in the door that nobody invited. Like, legitimately, no one knows the person, or it's a random person that got invited like 6 months prior in a off the wall conversation that nobody remembers, and they finally showed up. And, like, I prayed on those days, and I'm like, that guy was totally supposed to be here today, and, like, I almost missed it. I just almost missed an opportunity when, like, every single week I pray, God, send exactly who you're supposed to send, who you want to send to be here at our house on Sunday. And I'm just complacent and thankful for the opportunity. And because of the fact that I was trying to get out of there, and I wasn't trying to do that thing in that moment, like, I almost missed it. And so I'm really glad I didn't go, and I'm glad that I was there, and I was super thankful for the time with John. And it just made me laugh that I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to try and leave again. And again, I don't think it was immoral that I wanted to go to a different church. It's just funny, and something about going, if God sends nobody, then I can be faithful in praying in my living room on a Sunday, and worshiping in my living room on a Sunday. And if God sends 30 people, I can be faithful and prayerful in that too, and, like, show up with a message and pray and teach what I'm supposed to, and then God's going to do what he wants to do. And so, yeah.
It reminds me, this makes me think of Abraham and the promise of the baby.
Yeah.
And he says, God's taking too long with Sarah and I.
Oh, gosh.
And so I'm going to go to Hagar, because, like, I'm still going to have a kid. It's not the same kid, but I'm going to go have a kid. And then that means, Mike, that your church is the Hagar in the story.
Are you offended?
I don't want to be the, although, I mean, God loved Hagar.
Right? Blessed Ishmael. Right?
He's the God who sees.
Yeah. So anyway, in that story,
I didn't know where you were going to land on Boova. That reminds me of Abraham. I wasn't thinking and he laid with his wife's.
That's what I took from it. Is that our house church environment is kind of the harlot type of view. Now, she's not technically a harlot, but it just feels like that. No, I was going to say, that's not how that
worked. And Sarah was the, okay. Yeah. Well, that was
actually, it was, it's just because where I'm at, but it reminded me of Elijah after he had done the big thing on Mount Carmel with both of the altars, and God showed up, and then he slayed all the Baal worshipers, and, like, Elijah, this is like a 3 or 4 year process that Elijah's been going through this stuff. And not a chapter later, he's sitting underneath a tree going, God, just take me. Yeah. Everything you asked me to do is not working. I did all the things that you asked. I prepared all the things. I prayed all the things, and nothing's happening. And then, like, a chapter after that, God's like, there's 7,000 people in the town over. What are you even talking about?
Well, and I think that's a fair comparison, because, like,
it's better than Ben's Hagar comparison.
Agreed. It is. Much
I have
better.
Not said harlot forever, and so I just
looking for an excuse.
Yeah, we have a little flip card thing that says days since Ben said the word harlot, and I just flipped it from 615 to 0. We screwed that one up. The workplace accident happened. I think that's a totally fair comparison on Mike's part, not Ben's. From the perspective of, like, God has done immeasurably cool things. Like, in the last year and a half, like, watching him move has been some of the most rewarding things of our lives. Like, legitimately watching him answer prayers and do enormous mountain moving God-sized things. And, like, that's happened on plenty of Sundays where, like, one person showed up, and that's exactly who was supposed to be there. And then life changed for that person. And it's God moving things and making things happen and changing circumstances and like reforging relationships. I've seen God make moves in people's lives that I prayed for years for that I never expected to have happen. And I like had to set myself back and go, dude, you faithlessly prayed for years and God still showed up and went, even though you
faithfully answered.
Yeah, right. I faithlessly prayed and he faithfully answered in so many ways. And like, for some reason, just over a few weeks, it was enough of a disconnect for me to go, gosh, am I useless here? Like, are we even doing the right thing? Should we just stop this? Should we bail? And like, it was absolutely lies. It was absolutely lies that were going, dude, why am I even trying to get involved in this? I show up and I put forth the effort and the faithfulness that I'm supposed to. God's going to do whatever he wants. If it's 150 people in my living room, it's not going to work anyway. I can't play the numbers game. If it's one person, it's fantastic. If it's 5 people, it's wonderful. There's no measurement that I'm trying to put into here, but it was this weird moment where I was like, man, I almost missed it. I almost missed it because of 30 minutes of impatience.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes of impatience would have been enough for like John to show up. He shows up and walks in the door and it's my wife and baby there and I'm gone. What's that look like?
Yeah.
Like that. What situation does that put my wife in? An awkward situation. And John as well. And guess what? John is incredibly important. And it is worth it if only he shows up. It is absolutely worth it. And guess what I didn't do? Teach. I didn't teach anything. Like, I did not talk about the book of John almost at all. I brought it up because the conversation kind of steered that way at one point in time. But like,
by me.
But it wasn't like, hey, here's the teaching that I planned on doing on this passage. It just flat out was like, we just started chatting. And it was him talking about work and him talking about his life and him talking about circumstances with people and around him and all this different stuff. And it was such awesome relationship building. And I got to watch that dude, like, I got to see his heart for the first time because he doesn't open up that much. But in 4.5 hours, it's hard not to. And so, like, it was such a blessing. And it was such a reminder for me to take a step back and be like, dude, I'm not in it for a numbers game. There's no level of success that I should even be like fighting for other than like being faithful to the Lord and allowing the Lord to move. Because people are fickle, myself included. People are going to show up and they're not going to show up. They're going to be gone for 6 months, then they're going to come back and go, hey, I've actually been on meth the whole time and I've been homeless and I actually like I killed a guy last week and I really need a place to stay. And I'd be like, all right, well, I guess we're here for that today.
Yeah,
like,
you're going to stay in the jail because I'm
right. Yeah,
I guess
we're doing prison ministry.
To a lamppost outside.
Exactly. They call me the Mexican Batman. But like,
the thing is, you're in such good company. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Elijah did this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Elijah did this. He was there when the fire consumed the rocks. Yep. Like the water and the rocks.
And faithfully called it down.
And he was part of the whole thing. And then a week later, he's like, am I even supposed to be here? Like, we're just fickle like this. God's presence is an amazing thing to witness. And even with that, Israel did the same thing.
Oh,
Led
totally.
through desert by giant tornado fire. And then you're like, this food sucks. Take me to Egypt.
Yeah, remember when we sat by the meat pots?
I love meat pots.
There's almost a relevance to this, to the mountaintop conversation, which is interesting because God himself creates these types of situations. Let's switch to that because like this becomes an interesting element to me, like Elijah's life specifically. So I probably set it up poorly. Casson, you reset up the conversation, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Okay, I'll attempt to paint a picture from a previous conversation, but basically, whether it's church, camp, those are separate words, but it could be church camp. Whatever the experience is, we have a tendency to mold situations, to mold experiences, to benefit people. And sometimes we have the goal of sharing gospel in moments like that. And I specifically am thinking about, for my example, what was church camp, planning, writing a curriculum, planning a week full of events, and exposing a bunch of teenagers to high emotional situations, to mentors and leaders that matter, to places and people who think alike them, and enable them to experience Christ, because Christ is there, but the truth is Christ is everywhere. And a lot of the times in these high emotion situations, these mountaintops, we don't set people up for success for when they are looking for Jesus off of the mountain. Instead of walking them down or teaching them how to search for Jesus or see Jesus or experience Jesus in everyday life, more or less, we just take the guy off of Google Maps mountain, we pick him up, and we just throw him back to their hometown or wherever they're leaving that experience from to go to. And this could just be Sunday church. This could be the smoke on the stage with the cool worship song that just hit hard, right? It doesn't have to be the camp or the mountain that I'm picturing. But we take people and we throw them out, and they are almost unable to feel Christ, to find Christ in their everyday life, because they think it requires, and it's not, of course I'm not blaming them, but because their biggest or most important experiences required so much. It took so much. It was emotionally available where they aren't available in their everyday lives. And I guess I'll let you expand on it, Ben, but really it's just these mountaintops that we create are just not realistic. And I really hate that we had this conversation and now you're like, well, God does it all the time. Because we talked about this for 2 hours 2 weeks ago, and we didn't once say God does this. Yeah. But you're going to, I hate this. Go ahead. I love it, actually.
It's an interesting part of the equation. So I think, like, there's not a mustache twister in here. These, like, we do this because, like, you want to create moments of which seem to cut through even everyday baggage to get to the soul of something, to say, look, if you could get a glimpse of this, then certainly you'd want it. And and even the things we're pointing to people are true. The intention behind all the things are true. And so I don't think there's mustache twisting going on. But there is manipulation, but it's done for a positive means. We're trying to We've
got to find a better word, but the truth is manipulation, and we can't. There's not a better way to dress that up.
Yeah, the intention is curation, but what's actually happening is manipulation.
Well, so you think about, like, I think this is the thing that gets Mike most of the time. Is it just like synth vibe? You walk into a place and all of a sudden, like, you're supposed to feel like the heavens maybe feel like there's just a resounding, modulating chord going on all the time, and it's puts you in a space. And, like, does the fog do that? Yeah, it does. Does the light sometimes do that kind of thing? Sure, it does. Does the fact that there's a guy who talks louder than everybody else, there's a command to it? Like, these are curated experiences that are designed to try to shape behavior, draw emotion, have you connect with the thing. I don't think, even coming from my perspective, which can be pretty conservative in this type of situation, it's not implicitly bad, but it is very powerful. Mm-hmm. And so then the question, there's two major considerations. The first is that, like, are we curating experiences to generate good experiences? Mm-hmm. Or are we curating the experiences as a way to do the thing that we actually think what we want to do, which is to, like, tap into this thing, to get past some of the burnishment and allow people to see and connect with the thing that then is supposed to carry forth with them into the rest of their reality, not latch onto and say, I only experience Jesus when the vibe is on and when the smoke is rolling.
Yeah, I think there's a fundamental belief that says there's an encounter that is being there's an encounter that is inherent within the curated experience that we would hope would then be permeating through the rest of their experiences, right? Like, if the experience is curated in a way that they have an encounter with the living Christ that we believe that we're creating through a church camp experience or through an amazing worship experience or through the best light show at the church house or whatever the thing is, right? Like, there's if we can just get them to see that, right? Like you're saying, split through all of the noise of normalcy that people get stuck in. And if they can just have that encounter, then there's no way they could leave not changed. Yes. And that's the belief that we're running into. And I think that the funny thing that you're mentioning of, like, well, now we've got the fact that God does that. Yeah. He has every right to. He's the one they're encountering. It makes way more sense that God can do this thing because he's the encounter. We're not the encounter. If we are the encounter, there is mustache twirling.
So the second thing is that, like, to the extent there's some things that help people connect with the thing, but if it remains in the moment and doesn't make its way and continue to walk the earth afterwards, then that actually has just drawn them to the event and not to the thing the event is even humbly trying to point people to.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And I think that's a lot of what we're talking about when you think about your worship experiences, your camp experiences, your promise keepers, is that like there is a responsibility that comes with creating a moment that's designed to point you to Jesus. If it otherwise becomes a thing that points you to the event and not continuously to Jesus, then even if it was awesome, it was for naught.
Right.
And so does it mean you don't ever do things that help people connect in that way? I don't think so. No. But I think, you start to make sure, are we creating very, very awesome events that don't actually have people latching onto Jesus? They latch onto the event.
Yep.
And to the extent that the events are successful in helping people latch onto Jesus, have we thought about what it looks like to help them then figure out what it looks like to walk the next inch and foot and mile with Jesus? So this thing feels like a boost of energy, not the only life source.
Yes, right, exactly.
Like, am I clinging on to the legs of Yahweh as I go, or am I clinging on to the lights of the event, or like because like ultimately they are emotional experiences. Like that's the thing. It's this is again full of terrible examples. It's you get imprinted on the event, right? Like you find yourself connected with what it felt like to be there. To the examples you gave, boy, somebody when you hear so and so pray, and I felt like greatly exposed. Like I was just sharing all the things. Like that moment you want back. Is that available to you every day? Of course it is. If it feels like it's relegated to only these types of moments, that becomes a risk to you, because then actually you're not walking out into the world jazzed up for the work of Jesus because you're taking it with you. You feel like you're slowly being depleted the farther you walk away from it.
Yeah, you jump-started the battery, but nothing kept it going.
Yeah, and so I think the interesting part is I don't think the answer is to go, we'll never create any events of distinction. But so the reason I was thinking about the Elijah example, this is him. He's part of the big thing. God showed up. He called the fire, and then he gets a little bit afterwards, and like it doesn't feel like that anymore. Now, is he missing? Here's the difference between him and say some of these situations. He's not saying, like, God, put me back in the ring. I want to call more fire. That's not what he's saying.
No, and he was disappointed with himself.
Yes.
Not with Yahweh.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
But the point
ultimately
being,
because of what Israel was doing or not doing.
Yes, that's right. Why are people not responding?
Yes,
actually, this is where he's having the same problem. The big thing happened, and they didn't
change at all.
They didn't change.
They didn't want it.
They watched fire come down from heaven and destroy the altars of those other gods, and they went,
I don't think so.
I mean, here's the thing. You're one chapter away from God's like, it did all the work you thought it was.
Right, yes, fair.
Right,
yes,
and like in Elijah's time of being completely destitute, when he's like, God, just let me die, God sends two angels and go, what are you doing here?
Yeah, right.
And then feeds him a meal and says, take a nap.
Yeah.
And then when he wakes up, he feeds him again. He says, take another nap.
It's the best Snickers commercial ever. So, Elijah, you're not yourself when you're hungry.
So what's interesting then is that like what you see though, this happens both Old and New Testament. Every time the people go, they call back and go, you know what? Just do the event again, and then I'll be re-energized. He's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Jesus refuses that thing with the Pharisees. Right? And like
you get the sign of Jonah, baby.
And God will do the same thing. Like he'll point them back to like, remember, I showed this to you, but he doesn't do it for them again. He's expecting them to go on with their lives and do these things. And so anyway, I think the interesting part is, or the wrong reaction is to go, we don't do anything that otherwise people have emotional reactions to. There is something to it. I think we should be super careful. One of the examples we talked about, and I think we've talked about this on the show before, is I get a little itchy on the descriptions of violence on the crucifixion. Because the scriptures aren't as concerned about that as we, but I know why we do them. It's the reason why 15 years ago or 10 years ago, I see the Passion of the Christ, and I felt something about it.
Tears in the theaters.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would say I shouldn't have watched it or anything, or that it doesn't still do something. But what is it actually driving me to? And am I enamored with the fact of the suffering, or am I enamored with the fact of like, this is what true kingship looks like? Right. And so there's a balance in there where we have to be just thoughtful about. There's a point where I actually think it moved into a manipulation of guilt that it's now not even getting the story right. He suffered so bad. Why can you suck so much? Like, it's like, or don't you know how much he sacrificed for you? Well, yeah, but I don't think the weight of like how many, like how deep the thorn went mattered to that.
Jesus didn't even come with that.
No. Again,
Jesus doesn't come back from the cross and goes, guys, it was so bad. It was so bad. You guys have no idea. They're going to invent a word for how bad this thing was someday. And you guys just don't even realize it. He was just like, yeah, I still got the scars, but like, there are so many more important things.
Yeah. And so anyway, so I do we have to be careful as people who put on things like that. We're tapping into things that you should be super careful with. But I think the thing is that, like, if it's still righteous to do, how do you not Google Maps a guy? How do you make sure that the thing that we're exposing people to, and to, like, we want them to point to Yahweh, did I actually think about the holistic nature of that experience so that they're still pointing and orienting with Yahweh as they go down the mountain and not just dump off it?
Sure.
And the week after and the month after and that kind of thing. And I think that's something that people have. Actually, this is one of the key critiques on like tent revivals and stuff. Mm-hmm. Do people meet Jesus in those? Sure. I just have no reason to not. There's all kinds of things. Again, you catch me a decade ago, I'm like, I just don't think we should be doing it. And now, I think the things that I felt were perniciously dangerous and risky, as Kesson would say, in some of these situations remain so, actually.
Sure, yeah.
Because I was just such a
Human
high bar of like manipulation. I'm like, I'm just like, for every way that it can otherwise open people up to Yahweh, that same risk, the works of the tempter get in there, and the people can be manipulated to do all kinds of stupid things, right? So I think the risk is still there, but I don't think you bail from the situation. I think you handle it humbly and wisely.
Yeah, like, I think it's totally fair when you recognize that game recognizes game.
This is what I'm saying.
And it will never not come back to that for me.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you
like,
completely.
in all situations, like, what we land on is that, like, here you've got game, and then, like, if game's over here as well, like, they just see each other. They see each other, and they're like, samesies, and it's crazy. It's just wild.
Do you think that we have, from a church experience, whatever, a gathering of Christians, we have failed to see God move, and so we thought we will help this along.
That's some of it.
Like, we stopped, not entirely, but like it comes to a point where we don't trust him to create his own fire and create his own lasting impression of his presence. And like, I know this because like I've been convicted during a sermon for sure. I've also been convicted driving down the highway.
Yeah, totally.
That had nothing to do with anybody or any emotional attachment at all. Yeah. I have cried listening to a worship song by myself. I have had a hard time singing when worshiping with 300 people. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the thing that maybe I just am trying to think through is if the presence of God is not repeatable by yourself or away from your event, then that's where we don't want to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it should be helping you recognize what the presence of God feels like so you can feel it again. So you can be a part of it again.
So you recognize it when it's moving.
So you can recognize it.
Yeah.
And once again, like, it's the thing, I don't know why I'm on this tear. Lord help me. Like, it's being, like how you avoid this is being in relationship with him. That's how you avoid it. Like, how you help people get down from a mountain, because like the same scripture and same presence of the Holy Spirit abides through mountains and valleys both.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hauls the mail both places.
Yeah.
It meets you where you're at in both places. Mm-hmm. It weeps with you when you're weeping. It celebrates you when things are to be celebrated. And you can recognize his hand in both of them, right, when you're in relationship with him. And so, like, I suppose when it comes down to it, is like it's more about not so much as introducing people to Jesus, which it is, right? But where God's doing work, like pouring in and being disciple making. Like, disciple making is a fancy word of, let me show you how to do this. Let me just show you how to be a human.
Follow me as I follow Christ.
Yes,
this is disciple making.
Let me show you how to be in relationship with a God. I can tell you where I've screwed it up and where I've done well.
Yeah.
I can tell you where I've been a fool and where God has continued to be good. And like that's really all that it is. It is that simple. There's not like a sweet book and a rubric to get through, right? So like some of it is maybe being able to is like the worship service. Obviously, that's the thing that's always like tearing me up is where I'm like, I just want to be careful that if the Holy Spirit wasn't moving in your church, then you decided to turn the lights off and get some fog.
Ooh.
And so you thought this will feel better.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The right question is like, if the Holy Spirit wasn't moving in your church, would you know it? And if the answer is you would not know it because we created an environment that pseudo represented the movement of the Spirit, or you got one of them, a few of the ladies who like carry that for you so they can kind of talk and stuff during the thing so you know it's supposed to be happening. Like whatever the vibe is in the joint, you wouldn't know that it's not happening because you tried to you wouldn't say you covered up for it, but what it feels like is you facilitated an environment of which people are receptive to it. But in reality, what you may end up doing is faking an environment in which it feels like it's occurring.
Like when you're selling a Temu Holy Spirit, you screwed people. Yeah. Right? That was disingenuous. Because the thing is, like, and it goes back to the humility reaction. If I felt like I had a church of 300 people, and I'm like, God, I just feel like your presence isn't here during worship, and maybe conviction of sin isn't happening, and like, so here's what we're going to do as a church. We're going to pray.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Lord, why is your presence not here?
Sure, yeah.
What's going on with our hearts? What's going on with our place? And like, if we need to devote, and sometimes like I will do this and like, it's not a catch-all answer, but like sometimes all I have to offer him is my prayers, right? So I'm like, I'm going to pray for the next 3 days and I'm going to come here from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and this is what I'm going to do. Is that in Leviticus? No, it is not. But it is what I can offer him. And what I'm doing right now is not working. So, Lord, will you take this broken human's thought and broken human gift and go, God, I don't know what else to offer you, but I know that I want you. So, like, I'm just going to submit to this. And it's archaic and maybe it's religious and maybe it's frowned upon as a prescriptive way to follow Jesus. But I tell you what it's going to do right now. It's going to put my heart on the floor and let me turn towards you. So, like, before we buy the synthesizer, what do we need to do in our hearts? What work can we ask you to do? What do we need to be a part of? Where do we need to repent? What's the things? You know what I'm saying? Like we did business with God and not with our senses. And I think that's probably, it's a humility question. Mm-hmm. It always boils down to humility. Can you do just about anything when you approached God with it and said, Lord, I'm planning on do this. Talk me out of it. This is what I think will help get past our hard exteriors of Instagram and low attention spans. Do you think this will help? This is what I want to do. But you tell me where this is going to be no good. Like, did you ask him?
Yeah. I actually wonder if, too, some of this is a presumption upon what people have to have. And so, like, if you were to ask 7 years ago, people would tell you, look, man, these are Instagram reel generations of people. They can only take 30 seconds at a time. How long is the longest podcast, like the most popular podcast? 3 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say hours long.
Joe Rogan's a 3-hour show. Like, top of the charts, like these top podcasts are people talking for an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? The world would have told you that like people can only take, like, let's reformulate how you interact with the world to facilitate something because like people are fundamentally changed. But like the reality is that like it's like, well, people can only get in this vibe to clear out all the muck from the world. You got to set a scene. I don't know if I buy that. I'm not explicitly saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, like, have we presumed upon what it looks like to interact with Jesus? You were saying, something about what you said made me think, like, hey, we set an environment of which, like, people feel like they're going to interact with the Holy Spirit. You mean like a bunch of dudes praying in a hut, afraid that someone's going to come arrest them, and then the fire comes? I'm just saying, like there's no proposition except for people going, we don't know what else to do, actually, so we're just going to hide in here and pray for a while.
What was the one king that wasn't even worth that? The only king worth a crap. Like it was bad. Then this one dude shows up. He's like, hey man, we found this book of the law. Yeah, he reads the book and goes, oh, we're gonna
yeah.
Oh no, it's not Asa. Who's the 12-year-old?
Josiah? No,
Josiah.
Josiah.
That's right, Josiah.
Anyway, no synth vibes, right? No fire.
Everybody shut up. We're reading from the law.
Everybody sit down. Here's what Yahweh said. And here's the thing. Yahweh did work with that.
They didn't even skip Leviticus. Like, they just went through.
They just bombed right through it.
Yeah.
Leviticus is one of my favorite
books. And that's
books.
the reason I asked the more fundamental question is maybe because of, like, it's me double-checking me too, right? Like, but do I trust God to create those environments within his own people without me doing it? And I think I do. like I trust God to meet people. And like that doesn't mean you be like use random words and be like cereal box and be like the Lord will work with anything. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But like but we are talking about like using the Lord's word, using the Lord's heart, asking Him about the things we're involved in, and like do I trust that God will bring the fire when He needs to bring the fire? And do I also trust if the holy God passed by you, you're gonna frickin' know.
Yeah.
It won't be I'm not sure. You'll know.
Yeah.
If you got ears to hear.
So, okay. So on the same token, do I think that, like, are there people who are, like, just real born to play the synth for the Lord? I think that can be true.
For sure. Yes.
I think
don't
there are
hate this. I personally hate
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but like other people, for sure, it's fine.
The question, I also actually don't enjoy it, but like this irrelevant to the point that like you can serve Jesus and be a synth man.
Yeah.
You can create a really sweet light scenario with your church. Like these come with risks, and you should be aware of them. But like the question is like, well, how would I know? Outside of a preference, how would I know? And this actually came up in John. Oh, who am I kidding? It's John 2. We didn't make it very far. But like this notion of like, how would you know if the thing you were creating something in your own image or for your own purposes? How would you recognize that? And from a church perspective, like one of the places we were talking about is if the things that are meant to point to Jesus start to become the thing in and of themselves. So the thing you would ask yourself is like, if we did not do this week, or at camp this year or something, and people would walk away going, oh, it just wasn't as good as last year. If that's true about a thing, then that probably has stopped pointing people to Yahweh and started become a thing in and of itself. And so like if people are like, look, if you stop serving donuts at your place and people are like, they don't think I'm going to come here anymore, well, then the donuts have become not that you wanted to make life easy, good heart, good intent. People started worshiping comfort. And so it's not, that's what I'm saying. If it's not that though, if you like, we eat every Sunday in our house church. No one goes, look, man, if there ain't burritos there, then I'm going to be really bummed. And this thing just doesn't quite fill me up. We'll just go, no burritos.
You still need the devotional and the didgeridoo, though.
Yes, that you do need both.
Or
of
you
those.
wouldn't have that feisty alliteration.
It's necessary for both.
You know, that's funny. It's funny that you say that because, like, we feel the same way about any one of the elements that we do on Sundays.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, like, if we don't have food, it's fine.
It's fine.
Like, it's fine. People can eat on the way there or on the way away from us. It's fine.
Or later.
If we end up spending 2.5 hours on prayer time, fine. That's fine. If we spend 3 hours worshiping, we feel like it's a good time we spent.
This is what I'm saying.
It's freaking great. People show up on Sundays and like we just did what felt right.
Yes. That's right. So I think it's not a perfect test, but it's one of the things you ask yourselves. Like, if we didn't do this, and people would say, well, so that actually might happen if we showed up and like we didn't pray at all as a church family. I might be like,
sure, yeah,
feels like it's missing, right? But then you go, oh, well, the prayers become the idol. I don't think so. Actually, I think this is the right type of question. But like, if there's a certain, I don't know, we didn't have the cajon this week. Actually, what I came to is just our, and you'll recognize this, Buva, and you're just naturally in the house church environment. Like, there's very little to pine for. It's like it's pretty stripped down. But one of the things we might actually do it with is how many people are there.
Yeah,
it's the risk, and it fits with your story a little bit. It's like if you went, but only 2 families show up. That's likely, actually, in this type of environment.
Yep.
And if that felt like to somebody who's like, it would have been great, but like there just weren't very many people there. Well, then we might be people gathering and worshiping Jesus is great, but if the count really matters to you on how much you're able to participate and enjoy it or whatever, then that's actually a barrier. That would be our likely barrier.
That's exactly why I challenged myself on Sunday, because like we were ecstatic once we took a step back and looked at the fact that one person showed up. It was freaking great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great. Jesus was there.
That's exactly, I mean, that's kind of the root of the beginning of this conversation is we set qualifications for what makes it good and bad. Mm-hmm. And I think you took like, you stopped yourself from what I would have contradicted, which is prayer and worship. Like, oh, if we didn't have these, it really wouldn't have felt complete. Well, that's true. Mm-hmm. That my church experience in your house church or my church or wherever we're going, if you don't have those things, it will feel incomplete. And that's probably righteous.
Yeah.
But there are so many things that, whether it's the tent revival or the church camp or the real church service or regular church service, that if we're missing, it feels unjust And that's what we want to avoid. We don't want, like, that's where the question stems from is if we set these emotional connections up and those emotional connections are no longer present, are they going to be able to recognize God?
Yeah.
And Mike said, obviously they will. And I think even Buva might have refuted that a little bit with his "if they have ears to hear" statement. I don't know if anybody else heard that, but the truth is, like, we will recognize him. But he's everywhere. The Holy Spirit is flowing through this world, and we send these kids away from these experiences. And I'm speaking kids from camp, but we send these people away from these experiences. And if those conditions aren't met, in some places, if people aren't dressed properly, I'm sitting at my Sunday lunch with family after church, and if people aren't dressed properly, then God isn't at that table.
Yeah, right.
That's a real thing that's still happening today.
Yeah.
I've been a problem for people in a church before.
but my point being is, like, we're experiencing God everywhere, and if we keep putting these conditions on it, and we keep setting new followers of Christ up with these conditions, we're just setting them up to never recognize it, even when it's obvious, even when he's smacking them in the face.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because, like, there's such a wide breadth of human interaction with all this kind of stuff too, right? Because like, my wife and I are fundamentally different in this conversation. She grew up like going to altar calls and getting in trouble because she spent too long at the altar and like would be late coming home, and that was her childhood. And it's so funny to me that that's who she is, and that's just it is truth. That is her relationship with the Lord. She like brought her parents to Jesus. She's freaking awesome. I don't get a chance to say it too often to big crowds like the people that come to the Live from the Path. But my wife is friggin' amazing. Every altar call she went to, she meant it. She friggin' meant it. It was a curated experience that meant something to her, and it strengthened her relationship. Every altar call I ever went to was fake. Yeah. Like, every single time I set foot in an altar or that I got on my knees there, I was lying through my teeth and trying to curate my own experience or live in that moment. Every single time I've ever come close to Jesus has been on my own, in my car, next to a friggin' riverbank, by myself, going, there's nobody here. This is me and my Father, and that's it. And that is not to discount Gianna's relationship. Yep. Like, her thing has been like, she went to church camps, she went to Acquire the Fire and all the Christ and Youth and all the different stuff, and it was awesome for her. It was so fake for me. And so, like, there's that piece that looks at it that goes like, there's something valuable about this kind of thing to the right person, and with the right heart and with the right thought. And God can absolutely work through that. Like you said earlier about, like, 10 years ago, you probably would have discounted a lot more things than you would today. Yep. I'm the same way. Like, I used to look at that and go, that's all fake. It's a joke. Like, nobody actually believes that stuff. But I am proven wrong in that every single day when I look at my wife's faith. But it doesn't mean that it was real for me. And so there's something about it, like, God can work through that kind of stuff if he's the one being honored and exalted, and is the one that, like, the encounter is with him, not with the experience itself, like you said before. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is the, it doesn't feel like a binary solution to me. And I think I would caution against, like, extreme reactions to it. But, like, because it's also true that, like, so experiences that folks like your wife might have, we might go, that's what we're going for.
Sure.
How do we kind of craft everyone else to have this?
How do we get that for Troy?
and I actually think that's a fundamental misunderstanding.
Yeah, totally.
It's just a wide group of people the Lord is dealing with.
Oh, totally.
We got to be careful they don't, like, have the same personality. That don't sound right to me that they would. And you can't cater to everything. You don't have to over psychologize all the things in the world. But I just, like, when we take responsibility for emotional tampering, I don't know what, like, whatever. Like, when we say that we want to create a powerful connection for people for good, that's the same nerve is exposed.
Sure.
For all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so I think to hold tenderly, to be cautious, and to recognize that it's the impact that may have, because it's the same thing. I find that like, I am very, very cautious on, like, actually this when Kes and I were talking, he had asked me a very, like, innocuous question about something scripturally, and the first things that always come to mind is like, well, how could you teach this wrong? How would you
Sure.
do? How would you screw this up? Like, how if you were to teach it wrong, what would you do? And then that's how I work. I work through wrong. What does that leave me? Okay.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's a very protectionist way of doing it, but a lot of it comes from just seeing people like not meet Jesus or walk away from Jesus from something that the dudes in this room would look at and go, this is lovely, beautiful, and this is the living water. And somebody else looked at the same thing through some other teaching or something and went, this is disgusting. And I don't want anything
sure.
from it. I'm like, how could this possibly be? And it makes me angry. So how we teach a thing or how we understand a thing, something that is meant to draw you closer to God, that separates you from God, I think we should be real careful
Yeah.
and then figure out, okay, how do I then not do
Sure,
that?
sure.
And a lot of it's done in best intentions. I thought of a camp story now that we've been talking about it. I went and taught at a camp one time. I think it's because they had someone else was supposed to make it and they got sick or whatever. I'm the B team. Okay. I talk for way too long. I don't get invited to camps. And so they invited me to this camp. And the thing was, they're like, we want you to talk about like Christian persecution. I'm like, okay. And so I taught, and I found some of these historical things. I thought they were like good stories that pointed out like how far people were willing to go, and that these are natural consequences of the times that they were in and the things that they believed. And that like what we believe is true regardless of the consequences around us. But are you dying for a love that Jesus offers? Or are you dying to just show that you're willing to die? This was kind of the point of the thing. And so we get to the end of this thing and the camp director steps in and he's like, that was good, Ben, but I want you guys to think of this. He says, if Christianity were illegal tomorrow, is there enough evidence to convict you? And then he pointed. And then he said it again in the fire. I'm like, you took what was a message that called people to say, like, this is worth dying for if it must, because of what it brings in rescue to the world. And these are examples of like brave men and women who have said, other people, worth it. And you made it show me all my works and would the government be able to pick me out as a Christian and persecute me because of it? I'm like, dude.
And I should invite that.
Now, is there anything about what this man is saying that is worth considering? Sure, man. If no one can pick you out as a follower of Jesus because all your stuff is in your innards and you never use your eyebrows, elbows, hands, and feet or voice to demonstrate good Christian stuff into the world, well, yeah, you should think about that. But like it boiled something that in my mind, I'm like, this, not because I said it particularly well. It's just like the concept is beautiful to me, right? And because it in my mind, it matched the way Jesus saw the world and goes, they don't know what they're doing, but I'm going to do this anyway. And turned it into something like, you should probably feel a little guilty because they couldn't arrest you tomorrow because of your Christian faith. And will you just do more? And I'm like, oh, missed the boat on it. But like, I mean, it felt real convicting because the fire was going and I just talked about a bunch of guys who burned at stuff and got boiled in oil and stuff. And then this guy got the finger out. And I'm like, well, it worked kind of. But it was just that kind of thing where like just a subtle manipulation that turned it into something that wasn't quite getting at the thing we should have got at.
Right.
I think that there's one thing you said that that we should probably wrap up, but like
Okay.
the one thing that you said that stuck with me is like both the presence of the Holy Spirit can open a nerve, and so can almost the manipulation that got you there without the Holy Spirit. And I think a lot of the church hurt that we see, or a lot of the people that are running churches with people like that, like they got them there, they exposed the nerve, but like you don't have the wherewithal, the capability, the love, the grace, or the mercy to take care of somebody when that nerve is exposed like he does.
Yeah.
He's got all that power. And so like I don't think we realize what we're playing with here. When you get diving into people like that, and like churches will just do it figuring this will get them to a spot, but like you were never the shepherd. You were always the sheep with them too. And so like you acted like you were the sheep doctor and you were never the sheep doctor. And so like and it's not It just goes back to humility for me. Like I think we should always like ask people honest questions or pose to them something that like should get their heart to think and start looking at their own lives and let the Holy Spirit come in and like reveal some stuff to them. But like when we scrape away all that stuff, merely like God's like I'm working with this person, but like in God's all-knowing wisdom, He's like, we're 5 years from this.
Yeah, right.
I'm actively working. I started answering that prayer when her grandma asked for it. But it's going to be 5 years from now before her heart is mine. And we're like, let's get it there now. Scrape, 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 scrape. You know what I'm saying? Like there's part of it just feels like a humility thing to me. Like, can God be trusted to interact with his own children if we're faithful in him inviting us to it?
Sure.
And like that feels like the equation to me.
Yeah,
Why are we coming in with a jackhammer when he's using a chisel?
Yeah, or like if you were, this is going to sound a little bit harsh, but like as opposed to follow me as I follow Christ, sometimes we're like follow me as I act as your Holy Spirit until the Spirit himself decides to show up.
Yes.
Sure.
That's the point Mike's making.
Yeah.
And that's a really dangerous point when you scrape away at that nerve and to expose it. And I mean, God can move anywhere, but that wasn't his plan. He was waiting 5 years. And
if only we could break their hearts.
And you've just exposed them to this church hurt. I like the way you depicted that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's a prayerful thing. It's a prayerful thing because I don't think God obviously makes moments. I actually, if I think of a fairly innocuous example, and what did I say? Innocuous.
Innocuous.
That's what I want. I kept using like you've been inoculated. Innocuous example. A 24/7 prayer room feels like what could go wrong in here, right? We're just getting ready to pray. There's an event to it. There's like we are intentionally gathering. Couldn't you pray anywhere? Of course. Sure you could.
Sure.
Did we get together intentionally? Did we give our time to go do this to make sure we prayed for an arbitrary amount of time? Yeah, that's what we did. Can that become a thing where like it never feels the same unless I'm in the prayer room? Yeah,
absolutely.
It can be that.
Yep.
And so it's important that we say. So do we need to curate those to the same way that we curate the events? We need to contextualize them. And that's not just like, oh, here's your pamphlet. Here's how to take care of after your oral surgery. Like it's not that. We need to think it's not a successful event if we've not curated the context to know how that event then informs it's supposed to be a part of their life that it then informs as it follows, not a thing that becomes something that feels separate from their life. And that's the thing. It just takes thought. It doesn't mean you don't 24/7 prayer. 24/7 prayer is awesome, but you do need to contextualize it. And I think there's wisdom in how you approach that. You've been listening to Life from the Path. Mike, I think one.
Yeah, one.
We'll do one
short.
advice.
Ready?
Yep.
Dear Life from the Path?
Yes.
I have a coworker who eats canned sardines on top of his salad every day. I know they are high in protein and could be considered healthy, but they stink. He already covers his salad with red onion and balsamic vinegar, with the smell almost takes me out. If that's not bad enough, he literally slurps the remaining oil after he has finished the salad. How should I tell him it stinks, or at least ask him to stop drinking the oil like it's water?
All right, here's what you're going to do. Okay. You're going to beat him up. All right.
Have you heard of Mexican Batman?
You're going to kick the crap out of him. All right. Like I'm talking rough to the point where he's knocked out cold. You're going to tape his body to the company fridge next to the offending salad bowl.
Yep.
So that he wakes up and is near his offense, and that the proper authorities can accost him and take him down to the station to be tried for what he's done.
I find this to be reasonable and justice.
Yeah. Headbutt him.
Night Rangers.
Hashtag Night Ranger. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is a common trope. Everybody knows sardines stink. So it's not like you're trying to have to tell them, like, hey, dude, listen, I sat next to your grandma and she's got a funk to her. It's not that. The thing that smells is a thing that everyone agrees has a nasty smell to it. Okay, what? Is it because I said it's
I'm trying to find the relevance of you saying you tell a dude that you sat next to his grandma.
It's harder to
and
have
she's
that
got
conversation.
a funk to her.
See, yeah,
Game recognized.
It's harder to have that conversation. It's a lot easier when everybody knows sardines stink. If you tell them sardines
that is
stink.
the second time I've agreed with Buva that you two are ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm wearing shorts next time.
I don't even have to talk about it.
Donuts.
Connected.
Devotionals. Didgeridoo.
Okay, so anyway, the point being is that, like, you don't have to act like you're walking on eggshells here. Everyone knows sardines stink. So I think it's perfectly fine to go, hey, Chuck, those sardines smell, man. Can you go eat in the lunchroom? Or outside? Or literally anywhere else where we don't have to take this in? Well, the
Free
question.
country. Chuck wants to eat in there.
He does, but I think you can ask him first. I would say because you're this is street justice. You're doing it for everyone else too. Margaret just doesn't want to say it.
You don't want to say it. Otherwise,
you can
already
get-
be solved.
Here's what you do. You get Chuck a penguin costume, okay?
Good.
And you give it to him. Be like, you obviously wish you were one of these, the way that you eat fish. So you should just go be a penguin somewhere else. Your lunch is stinky. Unlike your grandma, who everyone agrees with smells divine.
He says, I'm hypoglycemic. Ova.
That's not,
That's
protein
why
doesn't help hypoglycemia.
I
No
don't-
wonder he's eating all them fish. He's like, I'm still not working.
He says,
Gosh, why aren't these proteins turning into sugars in my system?
he says, I don't know that, but it's for my health.
He could be,
An idiot?
no, he could be Mediterranean. He might not even notice these sardines.
He might not be an idiot. He might just be Greek.
He's Greek.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, this is just regular in some cultures. It's American culture that hates the sardines.
Yeah. Are you from Spain, Chuck?
Yeah.
The way you eat your tapas.
Sorry, El Chuck. Okay. I think you just need to talk to him.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fair to go, hey, man, like, here's the deal. That is rough, what you're doing. Is there any chance that, like, that can be a take-to-the-car salad?
Dude, you don't want to eat that sardines in your vehicle.
No, that's why I said take to the car, not keep in the vehicle the whole time. You make it right outside the office door. You run to your car, you eat your sardine, red onion, and balsamic vinaigrette salad, and then you come back in after you've brushed your teeth. Or maybe you get him those Listerine thin strips, those things that were awful for 5 seconds.
Listen to
And
this
then
passive-aggressive business.
No, this guy's eating.
No, I started with aggressive, and then I landed on
It feels
passive-aggressive.
like this guy's eating for a divorce, though. Like he's just taking
He's
any and
eating
all.
for a divorce.
He's just eat everything that might cause a problem with the world. He's like, put it on here right now. I'm gonna take it.
I want to have dragon breath by the time I'm done with this. My lady's not going to
Hey,
kiss
maybe
me.
he's a suave, and his wife's like, eat all that crap to keep them ladies away
Oh
from you
yeah,
at work.
yeah.
What a fun hypothetical you came up with there, Mike. Maybe he's a suave. This Greek suave fella that is so good looking to all the ladies that his lady at home is like, Chuck, you must eat these sardines. You have to. The ladies, they love you too much.
Sounds right to me.
Is that
That's
not
right. If
something that
Abraham
happens
wanted
to
to
you
point
guys?
some sardines,
If Abraham only had sardines.
yeah, Hagar wouldn't have gone near him.
Hagar
like,
says no.
What were you going to say?
Hagar said no to sardines.
I was just gonna say that's why I had to start working from home, but
Yeah.
because the ladies,
I thought you because of your sardine
not
problem.
the sardines, it was because of the ladies.
Yeah,
My wife
Game
didn't want
recognizes
me.
game, Casson.
yeah. You just got to talk to this guy. And like, here's the thing: it will not be worse. There's a very small chance it'll become worse. It could be that he becomes so offended that he then starts to eat close in your proximity. How'd you like this? You never know.
I did an all right accent. You came in with, how'd you like this? How'd you like this sardine?
I don't know whether this is just like, there's not one person at my work where I would not say, you got to be freaking kidding me with them sardines, dude.
Yeah.
Like, go eat them outside. No one's going to sit here.
This is it's not the grandma conversation.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's
much
way
easier.
easier than telling someone that their grandma smells
Or like
funky.
having to tell somebody to go take a shower. Like
I've
this is
had
just-
to
this is
I've had
just
to
easier.
fire someone for hygiene.
This
so I
is
get
just
that.
easier than that.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
Chuck,
Just talk to him.
No.
Wait a minute.
these sardines.
Can you smell balsamic? Does that stick
Yeah,
out?
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if that's as offensive enough. I wouldn't go all in. I would just go with the
No,
sardines.
that's why I don't think it's only balsamic vinaigrette. Like, if it's only balsamic vinaigrette, that's pleasant. But, like, if it's red onions, balsamic vinaigrette, a tin of sardines, and then probably something else, it's this Chuck guy's eating this whole salad.
Hold on. Just to switch this about, though, if you could find him to latch on to become slightly infatuated with the lady at the office, he would stop stinking there because he cares not to push her away.
Set
So
him
now
up.
you're
Set him
setting
up.
up some lady?
Yeah.
Be like,
I don't
Kathy,
think that was included in the details, though. Is he single, Mike?
It didn't say.
But
I
is
am-
he?
Yeah, he's definitely
I
single.
implied it with that
Okay.
divorce salad thing.
Yeah, Ben says it's for sure.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is that
he's
like,
in an unhappy marriage and he thinks the tinned fish are going to help.
so you could set him up with a side piece at the office.
Dude,
Hagar.
she's gonna
Hagar
go-
the harlot.
You're going to
It's
describe
bad.
him, and then any woman in the office is going to go, the sardine guy?
Yeah. So I would say,
Chuck the sardine fella?
look, Ellen has eyes for you, but not nose. You got to cut them sardines out, or you're going to never be able to get close to her. And then he's going to stop it.
Poor Ellen.
Yeah.
She loves it.
You've set
you
her
would
up.
Sacrifice Ellen to the sardine monster.
Yeah. And in the hopes that the sardine monster stops.
Because you're too much of a chicken to go.
He's going to walk over and be like, Helen, I love you. What you think
especially
about
with the
these
hard H,
sardines?
Helen.
I love you. Will you eat tin fish with me?
I still eat fish, but Altoids also.
Yeah. I brush teeth right after.
These are just ideas. I'm just saying.
All right.
Helen, 3 sardines. Just 3 sardines.
They make me a man. I grow chest hair.
Helen, I hypoglycemia.
I drink the oil.
The protein, the oil, the fats. My heart like bull.
Oh, I'm done. Here we go. Oh, no. Hold on. The thing reset while we were moving around.
Okay, while you're looking it up, I imagine him eating a sardine and then a chest hair pops out every time he has one. Yeah.
Like Popeye and spinach.
Ellen, this for you.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Secular says, you didn't mention where this feast for the senses is taking place. Is there no way to distance yourself from the stench or stagger of your lunch breaks so as to avoid the situation? If not, you may want to rally support from other coworkers who feel the same and approach your supervisor or human resources. Come on. Ask that a rule be enacted about strong-smelling foods in shared spaces. HR should be able to work out a compromise that allows everyone to enjoy their lunch in peace.
That's why HR hates themselves.
Yeah.
It's because people come to them with this crap. They go, all right, here's the deal. We signed a petition against Chuck's lunch, and we need you to enact a rule. And Chuck will very obviously know that it's about him, but don't ever tell them that we were involved.
Yeah.
And then HR is like, cool, I'm going to love my job for the next 40 years and retire. Thanks.
Pretty group of office jockeys. We think his lunch is smelly.
Chuck's tapas seems to be just upsetting.
And
I kind of want to. We should design posters though. If we were the HR member.
Ooh. Actually, that'd be the funniest way to do it, is to make a poster at your house and post it up in the lunchroom. Be like, sardines are for fiends.
Are you a sardine fiend? Chuck.
Okay, you've been listening live from the path. Ben usually says something or other. I always introduce the website like it's a big deal.
No, yeah, literally no one goes to the website.
Wait, here's what I want to hear about on the Live from the Path complaint line is, like, have you ever had a situation where you have a coworker that eats stuff like tin sardines and balsamic vinegar and red onions and, like, how bad? I think the proverbial, like, microwaving fish in the microwave and it stinking up the whole office.
Or burning up popcorn.
Totally
That's
fair.
common.
Like, is there anything that you've ever had to deal with in this situation? How did you handle it? And were you one of the wonderful jockeys that went to HR and went, hey, we need a rule about this against Chuck?
Yeah.
If that's you, 515-517-0085. Hit us up on the Live from Path complaint.
There we go. All right, man. We're going to cut you loose. If you have any feedback on the show, do use that Bob Eisenhower Live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085. Call or text. Also, go give a prophet's cry, a little bit of spin on the old Amazon Music or Apple or wherever your fine music is sold. In the meantime, we'll see you next week. But, yeah, you've been listening to Live from the Path. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. Doggone, I've said all the things I always say.
And you've been listening to in Faithful Means, God will handle those ends.
Rigatoni.
Just game recognizes game.
I'm just going to... All right,
Foundations of mistrust. You build your ivory towers, sit on gilded thrones, but the Lord sees all. Even hearts of stone. Woe to those at ease who sing idle songs. Your palaces crumble. You've been wicked too long. The lion don't whisper. It tears through the air. The Lord won't relent till justice is fair.